Hello Internet, this is Brian Holland. In today's musing, I want to discuss fantasy calendars. I'll talk about why I don't like the calendars I see in published settings, the calendar I use in my games, and some cool things you can do with one. If you're interested in hearing my musings about fantasy calendar, please stick around. Alright, let's take a look at calendars from 4 D&D settings. These are from the Forgotten Realms, Eberron, Ravnica, and Matt Mercer's Exandria. Do you notice the common element among them? I'll give you a few seconds. Many of the months on these calendars have strange names, and with the exception of Ravnica's, there's no correlation to our real-world calendar. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, these are fantasy worlds. Their calendars shouldn't resemble ours. Each world has their own history and myths, and that's what their calendars are based on. And you're right, you're totally right. But because they're fantasy and made up, we have no frame of reference when using them, and this is why I don't use them in my games. During a session, if I told you something happened on the 9th of Golgar, do you have any idea when that is without looking it up or memorizing Ravnica's calendar? How about the 20th of Sephiroth if you're playing in Eberron, or the 14th of Flame Rule in Faerun? Now, converting these to the Gregorian calendar may break the verisimilitude of the setting for you, but I think it's worse to break immersion when the players stop the game to find their calendars and figure out what those dates mean. So for a long time, I just didn't include calendars or track the passage of time in my games. But there are a lot of cool things you can do when you use a calendar well. So let me show you what I've been doing over the past couple years, regardless of what setting I'm using. I use something nearly identical to the Gregorian calendar. All of the months are in the same order and have the same names as our calendar, and that goes for the days of the week as well. This gives everyone at the table a common frame of reference. If our game is currently at the end of July and I say something happened on May 19th, you immediately know it happened about 2 months ago without consulting a calendar. And if an important event takes place on August 4th, you know that's only a few days away. This common frame of reference helps speed up the game and makes it easier for players to track events. The only change I've actually made is that all of my months have 30 days. But Brian, you may be thinking, it's unrealistic that all of your worlds have exactly 360 days. That's true, but elves and dwarves are unrealistic too, and there's one awesome reason for every month to have exactly 30 days. You can generate dates randomly with a D12 and a D30. I've added a link in the description for where you can find a D30. If you don't have one and don't want to buy one, you can simulate a D30 with a D3 and a D10. If you're not familiar with a D3, it's just a D6, but you read 1 and 2 as 1, 3 and 4 as 2, and 5 and 6 as 3. D3 minus 1 times 10 plus a D10, using the 0 facet as a 10 of course, will give you a number from 1 to 30. And if you don't want to do all the mathy stuff, just use this chart instead. A D30 is easier to use, but the other way works too. Alright, so now you know why I don't like published fantasy calendars, why I prefer the Gregorian calendar for my games, and why I like my months to have 30 days. Now let's look at some cool things you can do with the calendar. I do this in all my games now. Let your players roll their characters' birthdays. You can go into all kinds of zodiac shenanigans if you want to. I don't, but you can. I just think there's magic to be found when two random people with the same birthday come together. Laura Bailey and Liam O'Brien from Critical Role have the same birthday, so they decided their characters would be twins in the first campaign. Use your imagination for other ways to use birthdays at the table. Another cool thing is to roll the campaign start date. Let's see. December 30th. Okay, this campaign starts in winter. What does that mean for your game? On what date will the big bad evil guy's plans come to fruition if unchallenged by the PCs? July 25th. That gives the characters about 7 months to foil those plans. Whether you tell your players this date or not is up to you. I'll discuss secrets in my next musing. And since we've already forced our world to revolve around the sun in exactly 360 days, let's make the moon super regular too. On what night each month is the new moon? There's a new moon on the 5th of every month, which means it's full on the 20th of every month. Is there some significance if a character is born under a new or full moon? Or if the big bad evil guy's plans come to fruition on a full moon? Build stuff like that into the campaign. Are lycanthropes a thing in your game? If so, you know exactly when the moon is full every month. When does that religious festival of your cleric's deity take place? February 30th every year. Yep, that's possible with this calendar, and it's only 2 months away if your campaign started on December 30th. In what way is the cleric preparing for it? This just scratches the surface of fun ways to use a calendar in your game. The most important aspect of a calendar for me is giving everyone at the table a common frame of reference, and that's why I'll always stick to the near Gregorian calendar in my game. So there you go, those are my musings about fantasy calendars. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified of my new videos. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.